The day my parents tried to make me choose between them was the day I chose myself instead. I remember standing in our living room, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the Persian rug my mother had insisted on buying, despite Dad's protests about the cost. The air was thick with tension, and their voices bounced off the walls like artillery fire. I'm Penelope, and this is the story of how I turned my parents' manipulation into my greatest source of strength. Tell your father what an irresponsible fool he's being. Mum's mascara was running, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palms. Tell him how he's destroying this family with his indiscretions. Dad threw his hands up, his charm nowhere to be found. Oh, that's rich coming from you, Teresa. Why don't you tell our daughter about the credit card bills, about the spa weekends with your tennis instructor? I stood there, 22 years old, watching the people who were supposed to love me most in the world tear each other apart while using me as their weapon of choice. The familiar knot in my stomach tightened. Mom, Dad, stop. Penelope, sweetheart, Dad cut in, his voice suddenly honey-sweet. You're old enough to understand. Your mother is trying to paint me as the villain, but you know me. You know who's really at fault here. Mom's laugh was bitter. Malcolm, you're pathetic. Penelope, baby, you're coming with me when I leave. We'll start fresh, just us girls. Like hell she is. Dad stepped forward, his face reddening. That's when something inside me snapped. Years of walking on eggshells, of playing mediator, of being their emotional support child, it all came crashing down. I'm not choosing either of you, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I'm choosing me. The silence that followed was deafening. Don't be ridiculous, Mom scoffed, but I could see the uncertainty in her eyes. I grabbed my car keys from the coffee table. I'm done being your referee, done being your therapist, done being your weapon against each other. Where do you think you're going? Dad's voice had lost its sweetness. Away from this toxic mess. I've already accepted a job offer in Seattle. I hadn't planned to tell them like this, but their shocked faces made it worth it. Mom's face crumpled. Seattle? But that's across the country. You can't... Watch me. I walked out, ignoring their calls, their threats, their sudden united front against my departure. The irony wasn't lost on me. The only thing that could bring them together was their shared desire to control me. That was 8 years ago. I built a life for myself, carved out my own space in the world. No drama, no manipulation, no walking on eggshells. Just peace, success, and the sweet taste of independence. Until today. My phone buzzes with an incoming call from Mom, and before I can decline it, another call comes in. Dad. After all these years, they're still synchronized in their attempts to drag me back into their orbit. Everything okay? Peyton, my best friend and colleague, peers over her computer screen at me. I show her my phone's screen where both their names flash simultaneously. They're tag-teaming me again. Cosmic Karma? She raises an eyebrow. It is their anniversary today. Well, would have been. I'd almost forgotten. 25 years of marriage reduced to bitter ashes and dueling phone calls to their only child. Should I answer? I ask, though I already know what Peyton will say. You know my vote. You've built something amazing here, Pen. Don't let them drag you back into their drama. But as both calls go to voicemail and my phone immediately starts buzzing with text messages, I feel that familiar pull. Not of obligation or love, but of something darker, more satisfying. They wanted me to choose sides all those years ago. Maybe it's time I showed them exactly what side I chose. I pick up my phone and text them both the same message. We need to talk. Peyton gives me a worried look. What are you planning? I smile, thinking of my corner office, my upcoming promotion, my peaceful life that I built without either of them. I think it's time for a family reunion, on my terms this time. The responses are immediate and predictable. Mum, finally, sweetheart, I have so much to tell you about your father. Dad, about time, princess. Your mother's been impossible. Some things never change, but I have, and they're about to find out just how much. 8 years of carefully constructed peace, And here I am, staring at a package from my mother sitting on my pristine kitchen counter like a ticking time bomb. The Seattle rain patters against my apartment windows, creating a soothing rhythm that usually calms me. Not today. Just throw it away, Peyton suggests, sipping her coffee at my breakfast bar. You don't owe them anything. I run my finger along the edge of the package. You didn't see the email she sent. A piece of our history that belongs with you. Knowing her, it's probably Dad's old love letters, or something equally manipulative. All the more reason to toss it. The doorbell rings, making me jump. It's Isaac from next door holding a misdelivered piece of mail. This was in my box, he says, then notices my expression. Everything okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Family stuff, I reply, taking my mail. Thanks, Isaac. He lingers for a moment. Well, if you need anything, I know where to find you. I finish with a smile. He's been a constant, uncomplicated presence since I moved in. The opposite of everything I left behind. Back inside, Peyton's already opening the package, her curiosity getting the better of her. Oh, wow, she breathes. Inside is my old diary from when I was 16, its pages stuffed with additional photos and notes. A letter from Mom sits on top. Remember who you were before he ruined everything. Subtle as a sledgehammer, isn't she? I laugh, but it comes out hollow. Peyton picks up a photo, me at my high school graduation, flanked by both parents. They're smiling, but I remember the tension crackling between them that day. You look so young, she says. I was. Too young to be their marriage counselor. I close the box firmly. This is exactly why I left. 8 years of therapy to stop being their emotional dumping ground, and she thinks she can just... My phone rings. It's Bailey from work. Pen, where are you? The Miller presentation starts in 20 minutes. Shit! I grab my laptop bag. I'll be there in 10. Peyton helps me gather my things. What about the box? It'll keep. I pause at the door. Actually, would you mind taking it with you? I don't want it here. At work, I throw myself into the presentation. This is my world now. Clean lines, clear goals, measurable success. I built this life brick by brick, promotion by promotion, until I became someone my younger self wouldn't recognize. Fantastic work, Penelope, my boss says afterward. The client was impressed. The director position is as good as yours. Bailey shoots me a look that's half admiration, half envy. How do you make it look so easy? If she only knew. Nothing about my life has been easy, but I've learned to make it look that way. It's the best revenge. Success, stability, independence. Later that evening, Peyton comes over with takeout and the box. You need to see this, she says, pulling out a stack of papers. They're letters, dozens of them, that I wrote to both parents but never sent. Pages of teenage anger, hurt, and confusion. Mom had kept them all. She must have found them when they were dividing up the house, I say, my throat tight. There's more. Peyton hands me a recent photo. It's my old home now with a sold sign in front. On the back, Mom's written, "Your father finally agreed to sell." Another chapter closed. My phone buzzes with a text from Dad. "Your mother's being unreasonable about the house sale. Call me." I show Peyton the message. See? Nothing's changed. They're still using me as their go-between. What are you going to do? I look around my apartment. The art I chose, the furniture I bought, the life I built. I'm going to show them exactly what they lost when they pushed me away. Pen. Not for revenge, I clarify, though maybe that's part of it. To show them that their games didn't break me, they made me stronger. Peyton picks up another photo from the box, me at my college graduation, alone but smiling. You already show them that every day by living your best life without them. Maybe it's time I showed them in person. I pull out my phone and start typing. Mom, Dad, I'm hosting a dinner next month. Both of you are invited. No excuses, no drama. Time we had a real conversation. Their responses come quickly. Mom, of course, darling. I'll bring your favourite dessert. Dad, looking forward to it, Princess. Peyton reads over my shoulder. Are you sure about this? I look at the box of memories, at the life I've built, at the woman I've become. Absolutely. It's time they met the real me, the one they created when they tried to break me. Your father is selling family heirlooms behind my back. Mom's voice crackles through my phone speaker, shrill and accusing. He's probably funding his new girlfriend's shopping addiction. Did you know he's dating someone half his age? I press my fingers against my temple, feeling a headache building. It's been 3 days since I invited them to dinner, and the drama has already started. Mum, the divorce was finalised years ago. What Dad does with his things? Your grandmother's silver service, the one she specifically wanted you to have. I live in an apartment, Mom. Where would I even put a silver service? That's not the point, Penelope. She pauses, and I can practically hear her collecting herself for the kill shot. I just worry about you, sweetheart. The way he abandoned us. He didn't abandon us, Mom. You both pushed me away with your fighting. The silence that follows is heavy. Is that what he told you? Before I can respond, my work line blinks. Mom, I have to go. I have a meeting. Of course you do. You're always too busy for me these days. Just like your father. I end the call and drop my head onto my desk. A knock at my office door makes me look up. It's Bailey. Rough call? She asks, leaning against the doorframe. Family stuff. I straighten up. What's up? The director wants to see you about the promotion. Now. I'm halfway to the executive floor when my phone buzzes again. Dad this time. Princess, quick question. Your mother's not coming to this dinner, is she? Yes, Dad, she is. I invited both of you. He sighs dramatically. Sweetheart, you know how she gets. She'll just cause a scene. Like you're doing right now. I'm trying to protect you, he says, using that smooth, reasonable tone that used to make me doubt myself. You know how she manipulates situations. I step into an empty elevator. Funny, she says the same thing about you. Has she been filling your head with lies again? This is exactly why. Dad, stop. The dinner is happening. Both of you are coming. End of discussion. I hang up as the elevator doors open. Through the glass walls of the director's office, I can see my future, waiting. This is what I've worked for. What I've earned on my own merit. Later that evening, Peyton comes over with wine and Chinese food. Spill, she demands, settling onto my couch. How bad was it? I tell her about both conversations while unpacking the takeout containers. They haven't changed at all. Mum's still playing victim, Dad's still trying to charm his way out of everything. And you're still stuck in the middle, Peyton observes. Not anymore. I grab my wine glass. Oh, and get this. Mom sent me another package today. I retrieve the small box from my entry table. Inside is a stack of old credit card statements with Dad's expenses highlighted in angry yellow. She's building her case, Peyton says, examining the statements, using you as her lawyer again. My phone chimes with a text from Dad. Found some interesting old emails from your mother you should see, dropping them by tomorrow. See? I show Peyton the message. They're both doing it, trying to win me over with evidence against each other. What are you going to do? I walk to my window, looking out at the Seattle skyline. I'm going to let them come to dinner. Let them see my office, my home, my life. Let them see what I've built without their help or interference. That's not revenge, Pen. That's just success. Maybe they're the same thing. I turn back to her. The promotion's official, by the way. I start as director next month. Peyton raises her glass. To Karma. My phone buzzes again. Mom sending a photo of Dad with a young woman at a restaurant. The caption reads, "Thought you should know what kind of man your father really is." I delete it without responding. You know they're both going to try to sabotage the dinner, Peyton says. Let them try. I sink into my armchair, feeling the weight of their expectations, their manipulations, their endless war. They've spent 8 years fighting over who gets to control me. Time to show them nobody does. Another text from Dad. Found some photos you might find interesting. Your mother wasn't always the saint she pretends to be. I block both their numbers for the night and raise my glass to Peyton. To freedom, she clinks her glass against mine. To showing them exactly who you've become. Outside, the Seattle rain starts again, washing away another day. In 3 weeks, I'll have both my parents at my table, on my turf, playing by my rules. For the first time since I left home, I'm actually looking forward to seeing them. Let the games begin. Your mother just called me, Peyton announces, barging into my office without knocking. How did she even get my number? I look up from my computer, not entirely surprised. Let me guess. She wanted to know if Dad's really coming to dinner. Among other things. Peyton closes the door behind her. She also wanted to know if you're eating properly and if you're seeing anyone special. Oh, and she mentioned something about your father's new girlfriend being barely older than you. Classic Mom. I check my calendar. 2 weeks until the dinner. Dad tried to friend my neighbour Isaac on Facebook yesterday. They're both getting desperate. Speaking of desperate, Peyton pulls out her phone and shows me a series of messages. Your dad reached out too. Wanted to know if you're still influenced by your mother's dramatic tendencies. I lean back in my chair, laughing despite myself. They haven't seen me in 8 years, but they're working overtime to recruit spies. My office phone rings. It's reception. Ms. Davidson, there's a delivery for you. Downstairs, I find 2 separate deliveries. A large envelope from Dad containing what looks like Mom's old emails to her tennis instructor, and a box from Mom filled with Dad's bank statements and receipts from various hotels. They're really pulling out all the stops, Peyton says as we ride the elevator back up. Wait until they see what I have planned. I toss both packages into my desk drawer without opening them. I've hired a photographer for the dinner. A photographer? Pen? To document my success. My apartment, my view, my promotion. Every achievement they missed while they were too busy destroying each other. Peyton perches on my desk. This revenge thing. Are you sure it's healthy? Before I can answer, Bailey knocks and enters. Sorry to interrupt, but the client's here for the presentation. The rest of the day flies by in meetings and calls. It's dark by the time I get home, only to find Isaac waiting in the hallway. Your mom called me, he says, looking uncomfortable. She got my number from the building directory. Isaac, I'm so sorry. He waves it off. It's fine, but she spent 20 minutes telling me how worried she is about you being alone in the big city. Then your dad called to ask if you seem stable. I unlock my door, inviting him in. Welcome to my world. Want a drink? I feel like I owe you one. Make it 2. He follows me inside. Your dad mentioned he's bringing his girlfriend to dinner. I nearly dropped the wine glasses. He what? Yeah, said something about wanting you to meet the new family. My phone buzzes. Mom calling again. I answer on speaker. Darling, I hope you don't mind, but I invited my life coach to dinner. She's been such a rock through all this, and I really think you could benefit from her guidance. No. My voice is firm. No life coaches, no girlfriends, no tennis instructors, just us. But sweetheart, this isn't a circus, Mom. It's a dinner, my rules. She's quiet for a moment. Your father put you up to this, didn't he? Isaac raises his eyebrows as I end the call. Wow. Yeah. I pour us both generous glasses of wine. They've spent 8 years fighting over who gets to control my narrative. Now they're panicking because they can't. My phone chimes with a text from Dad. Princess, about bringing Amber to dinner. I type back quickly. No guests. Period. His response is immediate. Your mother's poisoned you against me. Isaac reads the message over my shoulder. They really haven't changed, have they? Nope. But I have. I show him the photographer's contract on my laptop. I'm going to document every minute of this dinner. Every success they missed. Every milestone they ignored, every achievement I earned without them. That's intense. It's necessary. I pull up photos of my old home, my old life. They spent years trying to make me choose sides. Now they get to see what choosing my own side looks like. My phone buzzes again, both parents texting simultaneously. Mom. Just trying to help you, darling. You seem so alone out there. Dad. You're making a mistake pushing Amber away. She could be your new mother figure. Isaac whistles low. You sure you want to go through with this dinner? I look around my apartment, at my degrees on the wall, my director's appointment letter on the desk, the life I've built from scratch. Absolutely. I block both their numbers again, something I've been doing more frequently lately. They wanted me to choose? Well, I choose me, and it's time they saw exactly what that choice got me. Isaac raises his glass. To choosing yourself. I clink my glass against his, feeling stronger than I have in weeks. The dinner is coming, and with it, my chance to show them the woman I've become, not the daughter they failed to break. Mum arrives first, exactly 15 minutes early, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my first month's rent in Seattle. Her eyes scan my apartment, cataloguing every detail. Darling, it's cozy. She runs a finger along my bookshelf. Though these walls could use some colour. I know a wonderful interior decorator. Mom. I hand her a glass of wine. The apartment is perfect as it is. The doorbell rings again. I take a deep breath, knowing exactly who it is. Dad stands there in his signature blazer, holding an expensive bottle of scotch. Princess, you look... He pauses, taking in my professional attire. Different. Successful is the word you're looking for, I say, stepping aside to let him in. The moment he sees Mom, the temperature in the room drops 10 degrees. They haven't been in the same space since the divorce. Teresa. He nods stiffly. Malcolm. She takes a deliberate sip of wine. Still wearing that awful blazer, I see. Still drowning yourself in Chanel No. 5, I see. I clear my throat. The photographer will be here in 10 minutes. Photographer? They ask in unison, then glare at each other for the synchronicity. To document my promotion dinner, I explain, watching their faces carefully. I'm the new director of operations at my firm. Director? Mom's wine glass freezes halfway to her lips. But you never mentioned... When did this happen? Dad interrupts. Why didn't you call us? For the same reason you didn't call me when you sold the house. I move to the window, gesturing at the Seattle skyline. This is my life now. The one I built while you were both too busy using me as your personal weapon. A knock at the door saves them from responding. It's Isaac. Sorry to interrupt, he says, but your photographer's here. She's setting up in the hallway. Mum straightens her dress. You didn't mention we'd have company. Isaac's my neighbour, I say, noting how Dad's eyes narrow. And the photographer is strictly professional. The photographer Sarah enters with her equipment. Where would you like me to set up? Before I can answer, Mom jumps in. The lighting by the window would be perfect for family photos. No family photos, I cut her off. Just document the evening as it unfolds. Dad scoffs. Is this really necessary, Princess? Seems a bit showy. Showy? Mum laughs sharply. That's rich coming from the man who bought a sports car during our divorce. At least I earned my money instead of bleeding others dry. Stop. My voice doesn't shake. This is exactly why I left. Why I built this life without either of you. Sarah quietly snaps photos as I pour myself a drink. The tension in the room is thick enough to cut. Penelope, Mom starts, her voice honey-sweet. We only want what's best for you. No, I correct her. You want what's best for yourselves. You always have. Dad steps forward. Now that's not fair, isn't it? I gesture to my office corner where my awards and certificates hang. Have either of you even asked about my career, my life, or were you too busy sending me evidence of each other's failures? The camera clicks softly in the background as their facades begin to crack. I tried to call, Mom protests weakly. To complain about Dad, yes. To recruit allies, absolutely, but to actually know me? Never. Dad's charm slips slightly. You're the one who left because you gave me no choice. The words explode out of me. You turned every conversation into a battlefield, every holiday into a competition, every moment of my life into a chance to score points against each other. Sarah captures their stunned expressions as Isaac quietly slips out, giving me a supportive nod. Mom's hand trembles as she sets down her wine glass. We never meant... To what? To make me choose? To use me as your therapist? To treat me like a prize to be won instead of a daughter to be loved? The photographer moves to capture the city lights behind us, the successful life I've built contrasting sharply with the broken family in the foreground. Dad's voice is unusually quiet. Princess, if we'd known. You did know. You just didn't care. I walk to my desk and pull out both packages they'd sent recently. You still don't. You're still trying to win, and I'm still just a pawn in your game. The camera catches the moment they see their own evidence-gathering attempts laid bare, their faces a mix of shame and defiance. Dinner will be ready in 10 minutes, I announce, heading to the kitchen. Try not to destroy anything while I'm gone. As I leave the room, I hear Mom's shaky whisper to Dad, "What happened to our little girl?" Dad's response is equally quiet. I don't think she's been our little girl for a long time. They're right about that, at least. Their little girl grew up, grew strong, and grew away from their toxic war. And dinner hasn't even started yet. The tension at my dining table could power a small city. Mom picks at her salmon while Dad aggressively cuts his into perfectly equal pieces. The photographer circles silently, capturing every uncomfortable moment. "So," Mom breaks the silence, "tell us about this promotion, darling. Though I always thought you'd go into law, like your father wanted." "There it is." Dad sets down his fork with a clang, "always bringing up my influence like it's poison." "Well, if the shoe fits." "The promotion," I interrupt loudly, "came after I landed the Miller account, the biggest deal in the company's history." Neither of them seems to hear me. "You never supported her choices," Mum continues, jabbing her fork in Dad's direction. "Just like you never supported mine." "Oh, I supported plenty, usually with my checkbook." The doorbell rings, cutting through their bickering. It's Peyton, right on cue. "Sorry I'm late," she announces, sweeping in. "Traffic was terrible." Mom straightens up immediately, switching to her society smile. "Peyton, darling, we were just discussing Penelope's career choices." "You mean you were fighting?" Peyton corrects her, taking a seat. "Some things never change," Dad puts on his charming face. "We're simply having a discussion about Penelope's future." "My future," I laugh. "You mean the future I've already built while you two were too busy destroying each other?" The photographer catches Mom's flinch. Dad's clenched jaw. "Sweetheart," Mom tries again, "we only want—" "What's best for me? Really?" I stand up, walking to my office area. "Come here, both of you." They follow reluctantly, the photographer trailing behind. "See these awards? This corner office view? The director's nameplate?" I point to each item. "I did this. Me. Not your influence, Dad. Not your connections, Mom. Just me." "Nobody's saying you haven't done well," Dad placates. "But if you'd just listened to me about law school, or taken that job at your aunt's company," Mom chimes in. "Stop!" Peyton's voice cuts through the room. "Just stop. Do you even hear yourselves?" The camera clicks capture their startled expressions. 8 years, Peyton continues. 8 years she's built this life and you're still trying to remake it in your image. Mom's face hardens. "I don't think this is any of your business." "It became my business when I held her through panic attacks after your phone calls," Peyton snaps, "when I watched her work twice as hard to prove she didn't need either of you." Dad steps forward, authority in his voice. "Now, see here." "No, you see here," I cut in. "Peyton's right. You want to know why I hired a photographer? To document this moment, to show you exactly what your war cost you." The doorbell rings again. This time it's Isaac. "Everything okay?" I heard raised voices. "Perfect timing," I say, waving him in. "Mom, Dad, meet my neighbor, the one you both tried to pump for information about me." Isaac waves awkwardly as the photographer captures their embarrassed faces. "We were just worried," Mom defends. "No, you were just competing," I correct her. "Still trying to win your endless war." Dad's charm finally cracks. "That's not fair, Princess. Everything I did was for you," I finish. "Just like everything Mom did was for her. Never for me." The photographer moves to capture the Seattle skyline through my window. Now dark except for city lights. "I have a whole life here," I continue, gesturing around. "Friends who actually care about me, not what I can do for them. A career I built without your manipulation. A home that's peaceful because neither of you were in it." Mum's mascara is starting to run. "Penelope, please." "Please what? Please choose sides? Please be your weapon again? Please ignore my own life to manage yours?" The room falls silent except for the soft click of the camera. "I think," Peyton says quietly, "this dinner is over." Dad reaches for his coat. Princess, we never meant to hurt me. You did. Every time you used me against each other. Every time you tried to buy my loyalty. Every time you made me choose. Mum wipes her eyes, smearing her makeup. We're still your parents. No, I say softly. You're just the people who taught me how strong I could be without you. They leave separately, of course. Mum first, then Dad 5 minutes later to avoid sharing an elevator. The photographer captures their departures. 2 broken warriors finally facing the casualty of their war. After they're gone, Peyton, Isaac and I sit in the quiet of my apartment. You okay? Isaac asks. I look around at my life, my real life, built on my terms. Actually, I am. What now? Peyton asks. I pick up my wine glass. Now they live with the consequences, just like I had to. The photographer shows me the preview of the evening's shots. In every image, they look smaller somehow. Less powerful, less important. Just like their war. The photos arrive 3 days later in a sleek portfolio. I spread them across my desk at work, each image telling its own story of that night. Mum's false confidence crumbling, Dad's charm turning to dust, their faces when they finally saw the woman I'd become. Bailey peers over my shoulder. Are these your parents? They look intense. That's one word for it. I show her a particularly striking shot, both of them staring at my awards wall, their reflections ghostly in the glass frames. My phone buzzes. Mum's calling. Again. She's left 17 voicemails since the dinner. Dad's left 23. Still not answering? Bailey asks. Not yet. I gather the photos into a neat stack. I'm having them framed first. Framed? For my new office. I gesture to the corner office I'll be moving into next week. A reminder of why I'm here. The elevator dings and Peyton rushes in. Your mum's downstairs. What? In the lobby. Security called up. She's demanding to see you. I stand, straightening my blazer. Time for one last battle, I guess. Mum looks out of place in our modern office lobby, her designer outfit too formal, her makeup too perfect. She's clutching her purse like a shield. Penelope, she starts, then stops when she sees my expression. You haven't been answering my calls. I've been busy. Director duties. Don't be cold, darling. I'm still your mother. Are you? I lead her to a quiet corner. Because mothers usually care about their children's happiness, not just winning custody of their loyalty. The dinner. It wasn't what I expected. She pulls out a tissue, dabs at her eyes. Seeing your life, your success, I realized how much I've missed. By choice, Mom. You missed it by choice. Your father. Stop. I hold up my hand. If the next words out of your mouth are about Dad, we're done here. She closes her mouth, then opens it again. I saw the photos, the ones your photographer took. I'm having them framed. I looked so bitter, she whispers. So angry. Is that really how you see me? It's how you are, Mom. How you both are. Bitter. Angry. Stuck in a war that ended 8 years ago. Security guards are watching us discreetly. Through the glass walls, I can see Peyton and Bailey pretending not to watch from the elevator bank. I want to do better, Mom says finally. I want to know you, the real you, not just the daughter I tried to shape. It's too late for that. Please, Penelope, I'm trying. Now you're trying. After 8 years of using me as your personal spy against Dad, after sending me evidence of his failures, after trying to manipulate my friends for information. She flinches at each accusation. The photos, I continue, aren't just art, Mom. They're documentation of who you became, of who I became in spite of it. Your father called me, she says quietly, after the dinner. We talked, really talked, for the first time since the divorce. That stops me. About what? About you. About how we failed you. About how incredible you are despite us. My phone buzzes, Dad calling again. I silence it. He's different too, she continues. The dinner. It broke something in both of us. Seeing you so strong, so successful, so free of us. It hurt. But maybe we needed that hurt. I study her face, looking for the manipulation I'm used to seeing. Instead, I find something new. Regret. I'm having a gallery showing, I say finally. Of the photos. Next month? Her hand flies to her throat. A public showing? Yes, every moment of that dinner, every reaction, every realization of what your war cost you. That's cruel, Penelope. No, Mom. Cruel was making a child choose between her parents. Cruel was using that child as a weapon. This, I gesture to the photos in my portfolio, this is just karma. She stands, smoothing her skirt. Will you invite your father to the showing? I'm inviting both of you. One last time, you'll have to face what you've done. Together. And after that, I think of my new office, my chosen family, my peaceful life. After that, if you both can prove you've really changed, maybe we can try building something new, something healthy. She nods, tears falling freely now. I'll be there. And Penelope? I'm sorry. I watch her leave, her shoulders straight but her steps heavy. Peyton appears at my side. You okay? I look down at the photos in my hands, the documentation of my parents' final battle, the one they lost to my truth. I will be. I slide the photos back into their portfolio. They both will be, once they understand that the war is finally over. And the winner? I smile, thinking of my framed photos to be, my corner office, my hard-won peace. The winner already knows who she is. The gallery walls hold my story in black and white. Each photo is a moment frozen in time, Mom's mask cracking, Dad's charm failing, their carefully constructed worlds collapsing as they finally saw the truth. It's powerful stuff, Isaac says, adjusting one of the frames. You sure you're ready for this? I straighten my dress, checking my reflection in the gallery window. They'll be here in 10 minutes, separately, of course. Peyton arrives with champagne. Liquid courage? Not tonight. I want to be clear-headed for this. I need to remember every second. The gallery door chimes. Dad enters first, looking older than at dinner. His eyes move from photo to photo, each one a punch to his carefully maintained facade. Princess, he starts, then stops as he sees the centerpiece. A massive print of him and Mom, backs turned to each other, me standing between them at age 12. The photographer found it in my old albums. That's from the school play, he says quietly. You were Annie. You both left at intermission, I remind him. Too busy fighting to see the ending. He reaches out to touch the frame but pulls back. I'm sorry. You've said that before. I mean it this time. He turns to face me fully. These photos, seeing us through your eyes, I didn't recognize myself. The door chimes again. Mom enters, freezing when she sees Dad. But something's different. No barbed comment, no bitter glare. Teresa, he says simply. Malcolm. She moves to the first photo, wincing at her own image. We look so angry. We were, I say, watching them both. Still are, sometimes. They move through the gallery separately but in sync, like planets in parallel orbits. Each photo tells part of our story. Their war, my escape, their realization, my triumph. The young woman in these photos, Mom says, gesturing to images of me at the dinner, she's so strong, so certain. She had to be, Dad replies before I can. We gave her no choice. Peyton and Isaac hover nearby, witnesses to this final act. The photographer from the dinner arrives, camera in hand. One last shot, she suggests. Mom looks at Dad. Dad looks at me. I nod. We stand before the centerpiece photo, past and present facing each other across 8 years of change. The camera clicks. I have something for you both, I say, retrieving 2 envelopes. Open them together. Inside are letters I wrote during therapy, one for each of them. Not accusations or demands, but truth. My truth. They read in silence, shoulders hunched, faces stripped of pretense. You were so young, Mom whispers. Too young, Dad agrees. And now? I gesture to the photos of my success, my independence, my peace. Now I'm exactly who I needed to become. Without us, Mom says. Because of you, I correct her. Every fight taught me to seek peace. Every manipulation taught me to be honest. Every attempt to control me taught me to be free. Dad wipes his eyes openly, something I've never seen before. The photos are beautiful, Princess. Painful but beautiful. Like truth usually is, Mom adds. They stand together, not close but not antagonistic either. The war seems to have finally run out of ammunition. I'm not choosing sides, I tell them both. Not now, not ever. But I am choosing peace. If you want to be part of my life, that's the price of admission. No more evidence packets? Dad attempts a smile. No more recruiting spies? Mum's voice holds a hint of humour. No more war, I confirm. It's over. You both lost. Or maybe, if you're ready to really change, you both can win something better. Like what? They ask simultaneously, then share a startled look. Like a daughter who doesn't have to be a warrior. Like a family that's broken but healing. Like peace. The photographer captures this moment too, not of battle lines and bitter words, but of possibility, of change. To peace, Dad says, raising his champagne glass. To truth, Mom adds, raising hers. To freedom, I finish, clinking my glass against theirs. The photos will hang in the gallery for a month, telling our story to strangers. But the real story isn't on the walls. It's in the space between us, in the silence where accusations used to live, in the peace I fought so hard to find. Peyton raises her glass. To Penelope. To Penelope, my parents echo, and for once they sound like parents, not soldiers. The war is over. The truth is told. The peace is possible. And I am finally completely free. Oh.